We're listening to the latest album release on Source Records, my label from the 90s, which I kind of brought back to life during the pandemic. And this is with Jordan GCZ of Juju and Jordash. He's playing the Fender Rhodes. I played other stuff. The Lyra 8 for the nerds among you. It's a very interesting touch-sensitive synthesizer, 8 oscillator drone synthesizer. So what kind of sounds like a bowed instrument or flute. This is that synth, and so this is kind of live recordings we did in 2018 and 2019. Before the pandemic, and we got hours of more of these. And while the pandemic, I had time at home to kind of go through and find the nice bits. Yeah, and this one was like in the album of the month section of a Bandcamp, so it got a little kind of promotion, and it's doing quite well. And that's as you can tell, is something. A whole different world from the DJing. It's so it's a nice balance for me as well to kind of do something completely different and really think about music and sound and not about dancing and mixing beats for the club. I mean, there's some beats on this album, but the most of it, the general vibe is very ambient.
All right.
Yeah.
And how do you come with, or how do you start a song like this? Do you start with like the melody, with a piano melody, or with a soundscape?
We were just jamming, and we never talk about what we're gonna do. It's just like evolving.
It flows.
It flows, yeah. He starts playing, I start doing something. We have the record on all the time. So whatever we play, and then we get into the zone, and so everything we're hearing is one take live, and there's a fretless bass coming in like halfway through.
You played it?
Which I overdubbed, but immediately when we played this back, I said, let me play some bass, and there's no metronome, nothing, no click. I just kind of played free.
Yeah.
And it's this, and then there's one part where I'm singing, actually.
Right.
These are the only overdubs. Everything else we created live in the moment. Yeah.
How?
And this is, I mean, it's only 2 elements, but there's bigger songs where we do a little programming, but like more old school, not in like Ableton Live, but like hardware sequencer, old built-in sequencer and a synthesizer, and then more getting a couple of machines aligned and then play something over it, improvise.
Yeah. So that how long does a jam last, or how do you know when it's time to end? Because a jam you can go for
forever. I mean, I think this one is on the album. It's 22 minutes.
Okay.
And I think the original take was maybe about half an hour. So it's almost the full thing.
Yeah.
Which is good. Usually, sometimes the jams, typically, we jam like for 45 minutes to an hour. And if it's good, we find like 7-8 minutes that are really cool, and everything else we just throw away.
And has it happened that you jam, I don't know, for 45 minutes, and then you know how sometimes jamming you come up with different parts and different rhythms? has that happened to you? And do you chop songs like, okay, maybe this part?
Yeah, sometimes
better?
one jam could be 2 or 3 tracks in the end, and
Yes.
people don't necessarily even can tell it's all from one jam. Or sometimes, I mean, with the ambient techno, it was always about really long tracks. So even in the 90s, I released tracks that were 50 minutes and more.
Yeah.
And they were like a whole album, whatever, in one continuous flow. So sometimes this works, but usually it's like you play for 45 minutes and there's maybe 1 or 2 segments, or often also like 45 minutes and just the same beat just the whole time. So it's really like one way too long thing.
Yeah. It's interesting because like you said, it's such another different thing from your DJ world.
Yes, and this synth that I'm playing, it's so unique. It's nothing else. To me, it sounds like a living thing. The sound quality is so kind of delicate.
Yeah.
What's the name of it again?
Lyra 8. Orgasmatronic or something, organismic, whatever. It's a funny name. And I think, I thought the guy was Russian, but now it's definitely Eastern Europe, the inventor. Which one? This one. With a Y. This one.
Okay.
Se está enseñando su sintetizador. He's showing up.
And you see at the bottom, this is, you put your finger on to create a sound, but it has 2 buttons for each one. So you can alter the sound as well by how you move your finger. It's different from a piano keyboard.
Okay.
And it's very chaotic. Everything kind of interacts with itself, and impossible to kind of recreate a sound. Stuff I make with it, I know I can never recreate.
Yeah.
It's so like you look at it and it sounds completely different.
Yeah.
You touch one note and the whole thing is gone, you know. It's,
Yeah. I know. And that's the beauty of jams. Yeah, of jamming.
Yeah.
Of coming up with things that sometimes it's really hard to repeat again.
Yeah.
How do you plan to do this live?
Yeah, I mean, we did play live together. We had Magic Mountain High was our project, which is now kind of hibernating because Jordan lives in Toronto and Gal lives in Tel Aviv. And Gal has kids, I have kids. And like, in order to make it happen, it's expensive. We need big flights. And so it's not really been happening for a while. But at Free Rotation, it's a festival in Wales. They have a dedicated ambient yard there, and I played with the guys or just with Jordan, and we did similar stuff. But I work a lot with Jordan, and he's a very freak guy. He takes his jazz seriously, and stuff that's not easy listening like this. This was a special day.
Yeah.
When he was playing just like nice. And I thought we got something there. And I think he was even a bit like, should we really release this? It's almost like new age. It's just like, but I thought, people will like it, and they really do. And it's really making me happy.
It's great.
I don't know if you practice meditation, because it seems like
this is meditation.
Yeah,
this is meditation.
But you don't think you don't create this with that mindset of I want to do something meditative.
I think so. I think when we do this, our brains are in this mode.
Okay.
Definitely. So I think yes. We don't make a plan, let's meditate in the studio and really zone out. I mean, you hope to zone out It could be something loud and aggressive zoning out. It doesn't mean necessarily this vibe. But
no,
you can be in the zone and you do the wild, crazy stuff, you know.
Sure. It's a different.
But this, but talking about like meditation kind of spirit, this is, well, of course, I think we were definitely. It was a rare moment. He's a tight character.
Yeah.
He's like, the whole world's fucked up and the industry is fucked up and I just want to go bang and we play one more and I'm gonna play it with my dick. He once said that at a gig at Corsica when we were doing an encore. I mean, what a statement. That he's not a guy like Omar S or like a big, he looks like a Jewish guy.
Yeah.
But then he gets crazy in the zone on the stage and he says stuff like this. But this was
Do you wanna?
But I can skip to play something else. So there's one very long piece in the beginning and a very long one in the end.
Okay.
And in between, not so long. This one is a short one. And it has a beat. But it's the same piano. The piano is on almost every track. Not all of them.
Yeah. And you play the piano?
No, that's Jordan. That's the other guy.
Okay. But I know you play some instruments.
I play instruments. And I play the bass and on that record. And I play synth. And at home, my main instrument is the guitar. I use it sometimes for the electronic music, but not always. But like even on those tunes for you to the disco, it's got my guitar.
And what about this song? How do you start a song like this? That it sounds very structured and very.
I mean, this one we just had a beat. It's that simple, and he played, and it was a nice chord. And there's one more synth, and then there will be one more synth, and that's me coming in with something weird. And this is only like 4 minutes. It's not such a long piece. And it's the whole track, and the reason it stopped, he had some funny settings in his Logic audio that the recording would stop after 10 minutes so you don't kind of fill your whole hard disk. And it ends just like this when it's good, so I had to kind of make an ending that works, but it should have gone on maybe a little longer.
That's what I was gonna ask. How do you know when to stop?
Yeah, so at this time the machine helped, and sometimes often we don't know and you just go on.
So it's fascinating because for me, like a regular song has, or the songs that I listen to have a structure, like chorus versus whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like,
this one doesn't really. I mean, it's a part where how it started, and now it's a different part. So it's already 2 parts, but they're not miles away. And we don't go back to the first part. It doesn't have the structure of returning to the verse or the chorus. And a lot of this music doesn't need it. Like the minimalist, whatever, classics. It's different. I mean, that's the freedom about electronic or techno music, and it's nice to. I see how music, like bands, start playing arrangements like techno. They don't care about like the chorus and the verse anymore, and they just go and zone into one pattern in a way. And I like it because it's the same approach like electronic, but it has the liveliness of a real drummer and a real band.
Yeah,
I like that.
And how do you challenge yourself as a musician?
I mean, pandemic was good for it. Guitar sales went up crazy. I was one more of those. Like, I really played it, I practiced. I taught myself to kind of progress because my friends like Jordan, he can really play bebop and jazz. And I have like rudimentary understanding. But I really kind of stepped up my game. I'm a lot better now.
That's great.
I think it keeps you young as well. You have a challenge, and not be satisfied with what you've been doing for 20 years, but try to evolve. And that's something about the music as well. I never was keen to repeat something that was successful. I want to move on, do something new.
And how do you approach like your new stuff?
Ideally, you just do it and you don't think about a purpose. Like, I want to make a record for this person and it should be played by this guy to those people. That's bad. It's better if you just do it and you don't think about these things. And that's how I try to do it also. I make stuff and I keep it in the drawer, and then I listen, I go back, and then sometimes 10 years later I decide I like this still after 10 years. Maybe it's okay, put it out, you know.
Yeah.
So not everything has to be done for. I hate commissioned work, you know, do a remix, that's the deadline. You give them something half-assed because the deadline is up. I hate this.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
so this is a lot of that Lyra synth. It can do some really kind of soundscapes, very atonal, very druggy.
Yeah, very trippy.
And then there's more tracks. Yeah, but I really like this stuff too. Really fond of this album, as you can tell. But even if it's stuff like this, it's not brutal. It's weird.
Yeah.
Maybe slightly uncomfortable, but it's not brutal.
No, not at all. I don't think it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, the title is something about Kraut, and I think Krautrock. If that means anything to you, that genre, German genre.
No.
Of 70s music. That's something we relate to with the whole album, and it was about jamming, and tracks were too long and people were smoking too much pot. And I never really rated it growing up in Germany. I was always looking at what's happening in the UK or America.
Yeah.
German music was not really cool. It was only when I started traveling and meeting people like Mixmaster Morris. He was a very influential DJ in the 90s, kind of with FX Twin. He was synonymous for chill out and ambient in a way, or Orb and KLF, this kind of stuff. He kind of pulled out all these German records, and you don't know this, and I heard the names, but there's some really cool stuff in German legacy. A couple more upbeat tunes like this one. Maybe we play some of this and then the last one. I have a feeling you might like the last one.
Okay, all right.
It's the most psychedelic.
How long does it take to I guess produce a song like this? Like,
I mean,
hours?
everything you hear was done in real time. The elements were there, and when I made it into a track, I did not add. So basically what I do is, like, since we multi-track, every instrument has its own track. Sometimes I would leave out an entire track or only use half of it. So we arrange it by reducing rather than putting more stuff, and
But
and I just follow. I don't know. It depends. It could be. This stuff generally, it all fell into place naturally, and it wasn't a struggle. Sometimes you aim for something and you do it again and you do it again and you're still not happy, and this stuff was more easy. Like, I found a sound, or the sound was there. I mean, that's really amazing. If you record actual hardware, real instruments, and you got them separate. It's a bit like in the good old times where you were multi-tracking a band and then you can solo the snare drum. Oh, it sounds really nice, and other stuff is not so nice, and then you try to make it a picture, but not mess with it so much, not process.
Okay. Yeah, so it the same, I guess the same beat, it's giving you the melody, and the melody is giving you something else, the sound, the different sounds.
I think what makes it easy, it's not trying to fit any category. It's not trying to be played out in a club. It can be what it is, happily. And if I think of any situation, like the album in general, I would say like people at home. But this one may be driving around as well. It's probably the most optimistic song. It's definitely in a major key. A lot of it is minor, but this is very unhappy, right?
Yeah.
It's a happy track.
How do you know when to add a voice?
That's what I did on one of those tracks. I'm not sure I want to play this though. It's a pretty weird track.
You should.
Yeah, okay, good. Maybe now. I mentioned it 2 times. It's a more of a weird track, and for some reason, listening to it, it came up in my mind, and then I just pulled the microphone out and I did it. And my wife was like, it's sort of funny, but Jordan loved it to bits. He said, like, it's the best.
Yeah.
And that's Jordan now. Yeah, as I said, like, he's not a people's pleaser, but almost everything he does on this album is really sweet and gentle, but in a nice way.
Well, it's
very minimal as well, very kind of like Miles Davis rather than some technical guys. Listening to the note.
But it's what Jordan is giving the song what it needs.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it was working towards this. This is now, it all makes sense, right? It comes together.
Yeah. What is your favorite song?
On the album, it's hard to tell. It depends on the situation. For a long
changing.
It's changing, yeah. I mean, we heard this one. I may skip to another one. I want to hear the vocal, right?
Sure, we'll listen to it.
And it's really a shuffle like a rock and roll. Well produced, right? Dolan sounds.
I was going to wait till the end, but I'm really impressed. It sounds really nice. Everything's very warm. I know that can be a little bit of a cliche to say, but you can say that it's just really nice just to sit and listen to it.
Music without a purpose, yeah. That's it. Okay, this is the one with the vocal.
Is it easier to listen to music that you've made instrumental than it is to listen to your voice?
Yeah, I mean, nothing I do normally. It gives me the sweat.
Yeah. Because when
naturally.
Podcast, and I didn't listen to it for 3 years. I couldn't.
Even your voice talking. Yeah, I'm not too fond of it.
Yeah.
I think it's hard for everyone, right?
Yeah.
Because like you sound different in your head than you do when you're played back from a recording.
That's
something you have to accept, and then sometimes you don't say the cleverest thing to say, and you think like,
you probably overanalyze it yourself.
Yeah, that too. No, I thought you meant the singing, which was like really. So every track is my favorite. I love this one because really it's a drum and bass track.
Yes.
But in this size.
In a weird tempo.
In a weird tempo, and it's very subdued. It's not like banging in your face, but you can hear it in there if you want to. Yeah, and this rambles on for I don't know, and then it has a big transition, and the beat stops, And this is where I thought here we could have something
Like your voice?
like my voice.
Yeah, this is very jazzy influenced
Yeah, it is more jazzy.
with those road chords.
Yeah, and even the shake.
The drums, yeah, it's
The sound of the drums.
yeah,
If the snares continued, it wouldn't be drum and bass, right?
yeah.
It's the break that stops there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of really tripped me. I tried counting it myself, and I found it hard.
It's cool. Right, yeah.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, it's very, very mellow, and I bet it's very.
Now I'm coming in with these kind of crazy sounds. It's not the Lyra, it's a Pro 1 sequential monophonic synthesizer.
How did you come up with that drum beat with the weird tempo?
I don't know. That was it took like 30 seconds probably to have it, and then we knew we want to play over this. Somehow it was immediately clicking with us because it's so different. You know?
Yeah, it's very weird. Yeah, very.
And I love if stuff is not banging, but it's kind of making you wonder.
Well, it makes you think.
Yeah, is something wrong? Or is it right?
And I think that's the beauty, I think, of electronic music, that it makes you think. When it's not
Yeah, it makes you think, and you can have your own associations. And why I was welcoming, because I had a life as a musician in a band before techno with songs and lyrics. The freedom it gives the listener not to have it tied to a story of a lyric, but for everyone it could be their own story, what they hear in it, and I think that's really beautiful. How music should be.
Yeah, of course. So this is where you sing, right?
Huh?
This is the song where you sing.
Yeah. Should I fast forward a bit?
No. I mean,
It's not that much longer. I think we're heading into the transition.
Yeah, for me this is like, I've been repeating it on the show a lot, but it's like a new world because most of them, like 90% of the music that I listen to, there's always someone singing, or at least there's a melody repeating somehow. Even in like instrumental music, like ISIS or mono, or stuff like that. That is like instrumental music with like guitars and bass and even like heavier versions of that. It still keeps a melody.
And I know, especially like the guitar music crossover. It's very kind of disciplined, and they're very kind of precise about their arrangements, and
sometimes
they practice the hell out of it, like da 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 da.
If it's melody,
and everybody and da 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 da. No.
Yeah, it's different for sure.
I'm really fascinated by jazz and the ability of guys to get together and play together, because they're all musicians and they hear what's happening and they don't need any of this kind of, this is the part, the way we play it. They know it's a standard, there's one kind of head, one melody for 8 bars they play, and then they take off and then they find their way back together. I think that's just probably because I'm still learning. It's something that really fascinates me, and the other stuff I've done it, compose a song. Yeah. These are my changes, then this is the other part, and
no, for sure.
And it's work, and these guys they just play, it's fantastic.
Yes, I do
And
agree.
somehow we do it too, you know. We just play.
But with jazz players, they went through the
Through learning, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it takes
With thousands of hours of practice. Of no, you have to play it that way. You have to play that. You start again. You have to practice again the basics and the basics and no again. Yeah. So they can find that freedom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also like.
But jazz can be many things, like the orchestra. Sun Ra, he always was fun to play with people who are uneducated, like amateurs.
Okay.
And even though he had the skill, he knew how to do it. He loved playing with people who were really innocent and had no education.
Yeah.
For their kind of naivety and their approach. And I think it's a quality to his music. You can tell it's not over. It's very kind of, I don't know.
Well, it's open, right?
Open, yeah.
Yeah, as opposed of most commercial popular music that is very straightforward, and you kind of know what's happening and kind of know in advance what's going to happen, right? You like popular music, as opposed to something of Sun Ra or even this.
Yeah, we got some really nice reviews. It wasn't Sun Ra, I think it was mentioned at least, related somewhat to Yusuf Lateef, which is another cool jazz guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Okay, now it's a transition and it's like another song in a way, but this is something I like from 60s psychedelia, and I love the Beatles. I still think they're unmatched till this day. And they often have, like, in the end of a song, 15 seconds of something completely different. I love these things. So this has, like...
Yeah, so this is like a soundtrack to like...
Yeah, and my synth is like a pigeon under your roof. Trying to mate with a girl, you know.
It's like when... Yeah. Like when you smoke DMT,
yeah,
the
right.
Martians,
Yeah.
Like, oh my God, what's happening?
Now it's vocal time, and it's a different key also. It's
And this is still live, like
still live.
one take?
Yeah. Just like my vocal, I added.
Okay.
But everything else, like including like how it came from one and now it's a different key. The inside, because it's a very kind of introspective music, and we don't care about what people think and whatever.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you have to do it for yourself.
And like,
I would never
thinking of the
recognize that it was you.
Yeah. Blue Jay Way, the odd Beatles tunes when they really kind of George Harrison. Pulling it off, right? 60s psychedelia.
It's a Beatles influence,
Yeah.
you know, right? It's super cool. I really like it.
Yeah. It was a bit hard. Denise's reaction wasn't good, but like when Jordan loved it so much, I knew rather to trust him. He totally got the reference, the whole thing. And I tried to put like these effects on the voice like they did in the 60s, make it really sound old. But I think like Jordan felt I understood what he was doing, and I found the words to it. I'm coming back. didn't do anything to the piano. That's the way he played it. But now it seems like we rehearsed it, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the beauty when you just allow yourself to go, you know, play.
The next one was my favorite for the longest, and then a little bit of the last one because I think it's special, but it's a long ass album.
What's the length of it?
I think it's about 80 minutes or something.
80?
Yeah, it's just what you could fit on a vinyl with really long track sides, like 24 minutes each. Yeah, so it's maybe even, it's close to 100 minutes. It's written. Jonah in San Francisco, an ambient show for Jeremy Bispo in a church. I've seen churches before many times. Usually they're kind of small and nice. I wasn't expecting it's the biggest bloody cathedral of California. It's huge. It's gigantomanic. Like the ceiling, it felt like 40, 50 meters, like in a main ship, not. Yeah, so it's really, really. And then he sold like 100 tickets the day before, and it would seat like probably, I don't know if it's rammed, thousands of course. Yeah, and 3 shows, no DJs, all ambient. Reagents, and Jonah's son solo gigging for the first time, and another guy from San Francisco with a guitar and modular. And then somehow he sold, I don't know, another 350 tickets, so it was kind of the main kind of church benches. They were full, and people were really into it, and we did a great show. So that's another record coming out. We recorded it live, and we recorded the rehearsal jams. I arrived a day or 2 early to rehearse with Jonah, and those recordings too. So that's another album.
Amazing.
And it's nice. The circle returns. I mean, it all started ambient back in the day. Space-time parties in London, holographic clothing, Mia Manners, and Aphex Twin, and it's coming full circle. San Francisco is really a place for it.
That sounds super cool. Did you do it before a DJ did?
I had some sort of a tour. It was the same weekend I played in Portland, which is a good scene. And then I went for the Space Coast Festival in Canada. And that's supposed to be cool, but it's always the same weekend as free rotation. So I was never able to do it. And this year there was no free rotation because we're restructuring. And I went, and it's really sick in Canada. They know how to party. It's very innocent. I mean, they were lagging, like the West Coast is still, like when techno, like in the 90s, when I came to the US first, I felt like they're totally innocent. They don't know what's going on, and they really didn't. Maybe in Chicago and Detroit they did, but like in New York, parties were shit. Now they really know what's hot there, and you find the best parties in New York. But the West Coast still kind of getting there, and this was the west of Canada. So they're new to this, and maybe not every DJ and not every stage I could deal with. They were catering to all kinds of sounds, but like my stage, my crowd, it was really super cool.
It's nice to be able to go and do the DJ gigs and
it was stressful, believe me, and chaotic as well. And then I came from Portland to Vancouver and they wanted to put me on another flight. I said no, I want to take a bus or somebody who's driving there should give me a ride, and they were not really helpful. In the end it was a bus ticket.
Okay.
And I land in Vancouver and I'm asking for the bus stop, the Husky line. That bus line was defunct for 2 years.
Wow.
It turned out. But the ticket was good for something. I eventually found the place, but then the bus was missed, and another bus, and then I had 3 tickets, and they wouldn't want to accept any of the 3 tickets and wanted me to buy a 4th one. And I said, please don't do this to me. You can see I got 3 tickets for the last 3 buses.
Wow.
Can I finally get on one? And then she let me go.
Okay, nice.
And I got there, but I was really like already not loving it, and then it was really cool.
Yeah.
So sometimes the rewarding end comes, sometimes it doesn't, and it's like a drag from A to C.
Well, yeah, I mean, so I don't know if this is very good to be shouting across the room with the microphone, but you were saying earlier, you were saying earlier, it's like the hard parts of the job are the factors outside of it you can't control. Yeah. So you know, especially in a country we don't speak the
mindset has
language.
to be very flexible, and it's like the seaweed. That's how you gotta be, otherwise you break. You know, if you want it your way or you want to force it, you definitely have to be willing to kind of.
But do you think that, like, because I don't live in a city anymore, it's been quite nice just sitting in the corner here listening to this music, because it reminds me of being in a city, because you kind of need this kind of music
to come down.
Yeah, to be in like a bubble, because I suddenly just this like again makes me feel reminiscent. Such a warm sound that you feel comfortable, and in a way you kind of need that to deal with the chaos of even like gigs, you know, DJing. If you don't have a drink or maybe something that can help you relax, they're quite abrasive environments.
I mean, 80%, let's be realistic, of the parties you've done it, you know that then too.
Exactly. Yeah, it's very abrasive.
Tough. I mean,
stressful.
That includes last night in a way. It was okay, but it's just
too loud.
Yeah, but I did a phase where I was sober for like a year and a half, and I went to meet David at a festival we DJed together actually in the UK at Gotwood, and it was really raining. There was like classic English festivals, a lot of mud. The crowd there are quite young, and so I was completely sober.
This one is actually lovely too.
And it was like very abrasive because everyone was like really high because the conditions were bad. You know, it was raining, and you definitely needed something like this to sort of make you feel more comfortable, I think.
Yeah, but that's where good festivals excel, and why I sometimes love them. You kind of get battered through the night, and it's fucking raining, and then you crawl into your tent, and then in the morning you hear something like this. It does happen. It could even be at Labyrinth or something that's more like mono once it gets going, but like the first 2 hours, sometimes you get this
a cup of tea, maybe a bacon sandwich, and you're like start to come back to life. Well, congratulations, because it sounds really beautiful.
Yeah, no, it's such a damn shame I didn't bring one. I mean, I can give you a code for the digital, which is great, but I want you to have the record. I did everything like the luxurious inner sleeves, printed, have even the sleeve is printed black on the inside. It's a double vinyl,
Yeah, I just unpacked your last ones, and Dave's album as well. So I had all my records in storage for 2 years, so it's actually like, so some records that you just heard over and over, that I put those to the side, but there's some that are like coming back to them for the first time, which is quite nice.
So I don't know where did it go, but this was an amazing podcast. Thank you guys
Thank you for having us.
for doing this. We really appreciate it. It's been an honor, even as someone that, like I said before, and thousands of times during the podcast, I'm not part of the DJ electronic music world, but it's really fascinating and inspirational to hear both you guys' story and especially you, Dave. Like, I know you travel around the world, so it means a lot that you are sharing your process and especially your creative process with us. We love you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for your hospitality. Very sweet.
Andrés, algo más.
No, gracias por venir, amigos. It's been a real honor to share the music and hang out with you guys and listen to your ideas and your experiences and everything. So thank you very much.
Muchas gracias.
Anything you guys want to say, David? How people can find you? Like,
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for the people coming out to hear me. Thanks for the people checking out my music. And I hope to be back.
okay, thanks. Adios.
Adios.